Hello everyone, Pete and Grada here from the Purple House at Forth in northwest Tassie with our share for the week.
Yeah, good to be back with you today. We want to focus on hormones, how you can keep your hormones healthy, and also how miserable you can be, of course, when your hormones are not working for you. Like if it's like a football team that's losing all the time, right? That you're losing the match every week. So what triggered today's thought was an old photo that we came across, and Pete took a photo of it actually, and it was a group of friends that we used to hang out with about 25 years ago, and maybe there were 50 people in the photo. Most people are still alive, some of them aren't anymore, but what I noticed was how 25 years ago everyone looked so much slimmer, right? Also speaking for myself. And even my own children, who are not fat by any means, but collectively, I reckon, as a group, we probably gained 500 kilos. And so I just want to talk about hormonal disruptors, what disrupts your hormones and what causes us to gradually pile on the weight, even if we don't do anything different in our lives, so to speak, like there haven't been any dramatic changes in our lifestyle and all the rest. And so really everything does point to your hormones. And what are some things that disrupt our hormones? And these things sneak up on you. They're not like something that people know about, that stares people in the face. And what can you do about it to help you drop the weight, for instance, or get your libido back, and not have PMT or whatever it's called, PMS, before your periods and things like that. That's what we want to talk about.
And headaches and things are all
skin rashes
associated with it as well.
You name it. You know, everything can be blamed on hormones, and that's actually not a cop-out, it's true, because our hormones, like if they only get tweaked a minuscule little bit, you feel all over the place, you feel all out of sorts. So the hormones are they are a touchy subject, especially for women. Why do women, I'll just pretend I don't know it, but Peter studied this subject very well, of course. Why do women struggle more with their hormones than men, generally speaking?
It's because
the short version.
Well, women's livers overworked a lot more than men usually, because it's the liver's work to break down hormones, and women have quite a few more hormones floating around than men, and we also consume mainly carbohydrates in the Western world for energy, and we store lots of that as stored fat, and it's stored in our liver, and it makes the liver so it won't work properly. And
But I was pointing out the difference between men and women. So men also store, they don't tend to store as much fat, perhaps as easy. So what I want Pete to say is women, like our hormones, go up and down because of the monthly cycle. So every day is different, and yesterday's hormones don't apply to us today, because today you're in a different part of your cycle, your menstrual cycle. So the liver has way more jobs than in guys. But with men, it's just very, very steady. Like the same sun comes up every day and shines again. Whereas with women, you have to compare it more like the moon. So the liver really has that. Plus, a woman is in many ways more sensitive as well. So feelings are chemicals in the bloodstream as well, right? Yep. So I'll just do the easy part, and then I'll let Peter explain the technical bits. So hormonal imbalances like hot flushes or anything like that are always created by dehydration in the first place. Like literally nobody is hydrated well enough today, and mineral deficiency that goes hand in hand. So if you're dehydrated, your minerals are not functioning, they can't reach the cells. And secondly, by bad oils. So there's only really two main reasons. I'll let Pete I'm going to let Pete explain about the unhealthy oils. But quickly about your water intake, you need to go on the scales and work out how much you weigh. So for instance, if you weigh 90 kilos, you need to drink 3 liters of water per day. So 1 liter for every 30 kilos of water. And every liter of water you add 1/4 of a teaspoon of unprocessed salt. So you need to think of this salt as all the minerals your body needs, right?
I've been washed out to sea over the millions of years, so that's the minerals out of our soil, is the salt.
Yeah, we don't get it from our vegetables or our food. You literally have to get the salt, your minerals from a salt solution, right? And so, so a liter of water per every 30 kilos, 1/4 of a teaspoon per every liter of water. So basically, if you were to weigh 90 kilos, you have 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, healthy salt per day. If you weigh 60 kilos, you have 1/2 teaspoon. Because people miss out on it, and then doesn't matter how healthy you eat or how you clean up your diet. If you have lack of minerals, your spark is missing. You have to think of it as your spark, you know, like the thing that sparks your car. What's that called? The jump, the motor. What do you call that motor again?
The starter motor.
The starter motor.
But it's the battery as well. If you don't have a little bit of acid, which is a couple of minerals in your battery, your car won't start.
You can't even charge the battery.
No, it won't even charge. So that's the same as us. If we don't have minerals and trace minerals floating around, that's what conducts the electrical current around our body and gives us a lot of energy and in and outside, into cells and out of cells.
And the chemistry probably too.
Yeah, and people who die from heart attacks going on a major bushwalk where they've drunk a lot of water, they get blamed, the drinking of the water gets the blame, drinking too much water, but it's not that, it's just not having enough minerals and trace minerals to create the electrical current in the heart.
All right, so I'll let Peter talk.
The other major reason for getting your hormones disrupted is the wrong oils that we consume a lot of. Back when that photo was taken 25, 30 years ago, we were consuming a lot less runny oils. But even 25 years before that, our caloric intake from the runny oils was probably minuscule. Especially the worst runny oil is omega-6. It's linoleic acid. But omega-6, and we were getting 1 to 2% of our calories from that 50 years ago.
Sorry, what are those oils, like people?
They are mainly in all the seed-based oils. They're runny oils.
All the yellow oils that you see on the supermarket shelf in plastic bottles.
Yeah, and they comprise only 1 to 2% of our energy that we got from our food back 50 years ago, but now it's, how much was it?
25%.
25 to 30% of the calories we make are made from those
toxic oils,
and they also just totally disrupt our hormones. They are the major cause of chronic disease in our body, omega-6s, linoleic acid. And they are all in those seed-based oils, but they can also be in the meats of animals that are fed a lot of those seeds and grains.
In the livestock, what do you call it? Stock.
Ones that are in grain fed like pigs and poultry, they build up a lot of omega-6 in their meats, and we consume lots of chickens and lots of pig meat, and we get a lot of omega-6s as well. But the runny oils, those omega-6s will stay in your body for about
6 years.
6 years. They've got a half-life of well over a year, nearly 2 years. So they break down very slowly, and they clog up our system. They steal electrons off our cells, off our cell membranes, from the molecules of our cell membranes. They steal and create
free radicals.
Free radical damage, which is inflammation, which is chronic disease. And they're the one thing, if you altered your diet and cut those seed-based oils out of your diet, you'd be doing yourself a major favour.
So seed-based oils, let's just be really, really clear. These are the oils that have been promoted as healthy, right? So if you go to the supermarket and you stand in front of the oil shelf, so you see the sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, sesame oil, peanut oil, what else? Poppy seed oil, hemp oil, wheat germ oil, walnuts. But the most common one, of course, is canola oil, which is incredibly toxic. But they're all probably the same. So you have to think of them as like, well, you may as well drink pesticide. Basically, I'm just trying to make it very real to your body. Would you buy a bottle of pesticide off the shelf and feed it, fry your vegetables in it, and like all deep fried food, all chips or chippies in the bags of chippies, they're all cooked in that stuff. So this is why 25% to 30% of our calorie intake apparently, or energy, is made from those oils today. That's why everyone is getting fatter and fatter, and they expect, so the obesity rate is something like, I don't know, 40%, but they expect it to be 50% by the year 2030.
Apparently, Australia has the worst in children, obesity rate in children.
The second, we have the honour, Australian children are the second fattest children in the world after Libya or something. It's an African country first, and then Australia second. And I thought we always followed the US in bad behaviours and bad all the rest, bad ideas, right? But the US, I looked at, it was actually like 30th place, right? So we're even fatter, we're growing fatter children than the US, which really boggles my mind. So they're expecting by the year, I think 2035, which is only about 10 years away, for something like 60 or 70% of the world, the Western world population, Australia and America anyway, to be obese, right? Not just overweight, like morbid obesity. So it's super, super scary. And we're pointing the finger firmly at those oils, because you can go to the gym, do your workout, go for walks, or do all the rest, have the rest of your life in order, but you don't know that these oils are so toxic. Yeah. Nobody knows about it because back in the 1950s there was a big push in the industry, in the food industry. First, all these seed oils were used for paint, like what you painted your house with, and interior or the exterior, and then suddenly the industry created paint from petroleum or from oil, literally. Like
petrochemical oil.
That's right. And they switched out the seed oils because our seed oils were more expensive. So suddenly the farmers, the lobbyists for the farmers in America started to lobby these oils as health foods for humans, and we took to it like ducks to water.
They convinced the whole world that these running oils were health foods and the saturated fats were the bad ones.
Oh, so so bad. So also just read today that the rate of Alzheimer and dementia has increased by 55% now, and it's becoming a leading cause of death as well in America, other than all the rest. Like, it's not pretty.
Plus the linoleic acid, omega-6, they are a major cause of skin cancers.
Oh yeah,
because
tell us about that. That's so interesting.
Disrupt the cell membrane of the skin, so the UV radiation can go in, whereas saturated fats, the UV radiation is deflected.
Exactly. So sunburn, apparently, for starters, if you get sunburned easily, that's a sign you're eating too many toxic seed-based oil. And like Peter said, then the skin cancer rate in Australia has gone through the roof, but nobody connects it to the toxic seed-based oils.
And we haven't got a clue where we're getting them from, really, unless you really studied what's in processed foods. All those runny oils are right hidden all through processed foods. You go out for a meal to restaurants, they're cooking in it. Most fried foods are a major...
well, they have to make money, right?
They're frying in those, deep frying in those oils, and we're consuming a lot if we eat food that's cooked in them.
Not only that, like even when you're cooking in it, it's really, and you're inhaling the fumes, it's really bad for you too. Yeah. Like we know people who've worked in restaurants, or they're working in a restaurant, and so they're frying these oils all the time, let's say deep fried chips or whatever, and they're literally losing their hair, right? The hair is thinning, and it goes into your body through your lungs, and like Peter said, it takes your body 6 years actually to clean them out. So basically it means unless you make really drastic changes, your body never gets rid of those oils. So we're going to tell you in a minute what you need to swap them out for, but I just also remembered that canola oil and all those kind of seed oils are used as a pesticide, a herbicide rather. When you go to, say, shops like Roberts, or probably in the same supermarket where you buy your oils, you just go down a few aisles, you go down the garden aisle, and you see a herbicide. It's often made from those oils. And it's like they don't have to do anything else. They just you spray those oils on your garden and everything dies. And we're spraying our inside and our children's inside with it. And also they are used as an immune suppressant as well. They, when people have a transplant, like a lung transplant or a liver transplant, and then you need to be on immune suppressants for the rest of your life, those immune suppressants are also made from those oils. So it's very, very toxic and unhealthy, and it grieves me when I see, even sometimes Peter and I, we love watching videos like of homesteaders or people that do all these amazing things at home, and they grow their own vegetables and all the rest. And then sometimes you see them cook their meals, and they're using like huge, they fill the saucepan up or the wok with the yellow oil, like the canola oil or the soybean. They think that's wonderful, right? Even people in super poor circumstances, they're still killing themselves with those oils. So that's just what we wanted to share. The
only runny oil really that is macadamia nut oil. That has a 2% linoleic acid content, and we need a little bit of omega-6, but 1 to 2%. So if you get above 2%, you're creating chronic inflammation in your body.
Yeah, and you get that 2% probably from your biscuits.
So that macadamia nut oil is the best runny oil. All the others
are toxic.
Yeah, they have larger amounts of the linoleic acid in.
And apparently olive oil, well, where does that fit in? But apparently most of our olive oil, even when it says pure and organic and all the rest, has been tampered with. It's not really...
been adulterated with other running oils to thin it down a bit, because, you get less oil out of olives than you do out of some of the other seed
I know.
oils.
So apparently, the labelling can't be trusted, so we wouldn't recommend you use olive oil either anymore. We used to recommend it like as a cold, but Peter eats like a packet of butter. Well, he used to eat a packet of butter a day when we found out how healthy butter was. Yeah,
that's classified an animal fat, comes from the cow. Now, cow and sheep fats are the best fats you can find, because the fats from ruminating animals, so ones that have more than one stomach and chew their cud, they break down that linoleic acid that they consume, because they'd eat rapeseed and all sorts of things. But even if they're in a feedlot, the cows don't increase a lot
in their meat
of that linoleic omega-6.
Whereas they've got 3 stomachs.
Whereas the hen and the pig have only got 1 stomach, they don't break it down and their meat is full of it.
Mm-hmm.
So sheep and cow fat and meats are the best meats that you can consume. And I just want to add, I've been mainly on having animal fats for years now, and a lot of macadamia nut oil, and I went to have my eyes checked after 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
How I was expecting a slight degeneration. The optometrist, she was very surprised. She said, your both eyes have improved.
Ooh.
So that's
exciting, eh?
That is. The only reason I can put it down to is that I've been having
a lot more animal fat.
A lot more animal fat, butter and cream, and the main runny oil I've been having is macadamia nut oil. And the inflammation or the things that create aging,
cell degeneration,
hasn't been happening.
No.
So normally you'd go and there'd be a deterioration in eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pleasantly surprised.
I was too. I'm really happy. Yeah.
And that said, I have also maintained my weight around 8 kilograms lighter than what I was when I first started eating lots of good fats.
Mm-hmm. And cutting out toxic fat. So you need to cut out what's toxic, replace it by good fats, and have a lot of them, because we also have a story of a woman who she and her husband had trouble with they couldn't have a baby, fertility problems, and she changed her diet and all the rest and went on to a keto diet, but a ketogenic, I should say.
Carnivore.
Well, anyway. And then but so she got really, really healthy on that, but she still wasn't falling pregnant. And then she doubled her fat intake, and then she fell pregnant easily, and she had children, like she had a whole string of them. And also, but the sicker you are, the more ill you are with any kind of degenerative process, the more fats you need to eat. And we're talking about animal fats because they are regenerative to your body, and these are also the fats that the butcher will probably chuck out. So you might I haven't tried it yet, but it's probably worth going to the butcher and asking for dripping, which is cow fat, or what's the other one? Sheep fat.
Sheep fat's dripping,
and tallow.
Tallow is cow fat.
Yeah, and you just have a tin on your shelf.
You can melt it, render it down yourself just by cooking it, and then it'll store for ages. The other one is
coconut oil. Lard for pig, you mean?
No, the butter that's had the
ghee.
Ghee is totally saturated.
Yeah,
a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
But there was what did
I don't know.
It's gone.
I just wanted to say with Peter's eyes, I'm super pleased about that too, because your eyes are a reflection of your brain, literally. When you see how a little fetus is formed, so you see the brain being formed, and then suddenly you see 2 little stalks coming out of the brain, and they have the little eyeballs, the early formation. So your eyeballs are literally connected to every part of your brain. So degeneration, we age and die because of cell degeneration, and our cells are made of you could say meat fat, saturated fats. They have a membrane of saturated fats, And it's really the membrane that gets eroded, especially with all the wrong oils, because it makes your membrane sticky, your cells stick together. We see that under a microscope a lot. So I'm super happy.
With animal fats, we are getting unsaturated fats as well, because butter and cream are 40% unsaturated and 60% saturated. The meat fats are 70% saturated and 30% unsaturated. So we still are getting our unsaturated fats as well in those fats. But quite often when people start increasing fats in the diet, they have trouble digesting them. And it's the job of the liver again to really, we need a good functioning liver and gallbladder system to digest our fats properly. And beet flow will create
support your healthy
a healthy liver to digest your fats properly.
To work optimally.
Yeah. And that's...
and every 6 weeks you actually have a new liver, right? So gradually the old liver cells, they turn over and new ones rebirth, I guess you could say. And so each generation of liver cells gets used to more oils. We've seen it with people. Some people have had to literally like prime their liver for a whole year before their body was really, really comfortable with fats. But in the light of some things, that's still not a bad result, because I mean, once your liver is going well, everything else goes well.
The other thing to support a healthy digestive system is to supplement with enzymes every meal, and that supports a
really great digestion,
very healthy digestive system. And the beet flow the same. Because
you've been doing that for years now too, so that's actually really proving how worthwhile it is if you take beet flow and enzymes. Because apparently eyes, they have the finest capillaries as well. It's all very fine mechanism in there. So that is very much a reflection of cell degeneration or what is the opposite? Regeneration. So it's and PDO65. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can tell we're fairly passionate about this, but it's a key to...
Can't say it enough.
Excellent health is making energy, particularly out of animal fats, and the brain needs it as well. It functions really well with good animal fats, particularly beef and sheep.
Because actually plants don't want to be eaten, right? So the seeds, this is a different topic, we can talk for hours, but anyway. So the plant also puts something toxic in the seed, because the seed is the most important part of the plant, in a way like that my children are more important than I am, almost, right? You get what I mean? So in the plant kingdom it's the same. All the best information and energy goes into the seed, then the plant dies.
To regenerate.
That's right. Yeah. So for the species as well. Yeah. So the plant is very intelligent apparently, and it puts poison in the seed that makes it hard, that kills us because it doesn't want to be eaten. So that's another story. But anyway, hope you like this. So butter is good, ghee, sheep fat, animal fat, buy the full fat mince and all the rest. Eat cream and avoid all the plant toxic oils as much as you can. All right, and then
the only good running oil really is macadamia nut oil.
And if you have more questions, come and see us. We can talk to you face to face, and we can really address your individual weak and strong points. And so, yeah, we have a storehouse of information that's all for you to share. We can share with you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Yep. Let us know what you think of this, and if you experience any of those problems, or if you're confused. Confusion is good. That's the last step before enlightenment, so they say. So let us know how you're traveling, and we're here to help you.
Have a good week.
Come and see us at the Purple House. Bye everyone.